Hello, I'm Gabriel, and welcome to an episode of Gabriel Reviews, where I talk about movies and review them on my channel every Friday. And today's video, we're going to be reviewing Mysterious Skin.
What happened that summer? It's a huge part.
Alright, this is going to be a heavy one. So, Mysterious Skin is a coming-of-age drama film released in 2004, written, directed, and produced by Greg Araki, who also directed other films such as The Doom Generation, Nowhere, Smiley Face, etc. This movie is also based on the novel by Scott Heim, written in 1995. So this movie first premiered at the 61st Venice Festival in September of 2004, and was later released sometime in 2005 in America. Now, before we go any further in this video, I just want to say that this video will have a lot of dark topics related, so viewer discretion is advised to anyone who's watching this. But anyways, it's time to talk about the storyline of the film. So this movie follows two teenage boys named Neil McCormick, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Brian Lackey, who's played by Brady Corbett. Now, both Neil and Brian grew up in Kansas in the 1980s. However, they had a dark memory of childhood trauma when they were both just 8 years old. They both experienced trauma and abuse as they were taken advantage by their Little League coach as kids. Neil remembers his memories as a child and mused that he's attracted by it. Brian, on the other hand, doesn't remember too much besides getting a bloody nose at his house during the event. He also has strange dreams to which Brian has believed that he has been abducted by aliens. Years go by as both Neil and Brian become teenagers and spend their lifetime besides not seeing each other for years. Neil thinks about what happened with him and his coach and develops an attraction to older men in the city. Brian is still trying to untangle his lost memories of him in Little League, as both him and Neil try to cross paths and how it affects their lives into their young adulthood to discover the real dark truth behind it. And that's what the movie is about. So, now into my thoughts. Now, I watched this movie for the first time last year, and it has officially been 1 year since I first watched this film. I remember I've been wanting to watch this movie for a long time, and there is just so much I remember about this movie because of how well made it is, and the fact that I remember like 90% of the movie even after a year later. Although another thing I want to tell you about is this movie is not an easy film to watch. It's a really dark film. It tackles on very serious subject matters, and it really gets under your skin, especially if you ever experienced trauma or abuse or any other related bad memories like that. And even though this movie is dark and all, but I absolutely love this movie. Greg Araki did a great job directing and writing the screenplay. All of the acting is fantastic, especially from Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Brady Corbett. And the music in this movie is amazing. Like, this movie has like one of the best scores I have ever heard in a while. I mean, it's just really great music, and I think it certainly is a really important film to me, like, literally. Now, one thing I will say is that this movie is pretty disturbing most times, and there are some scenes in this movie that really stuck with me and are pretty hard to watch. And, oh boy, I gotta warn you, this next scene I'm gonna talk about is really, really hard to describe, so just be warned. So, there's a scene where Neil gets picked up by a man, to which the man takes to his house and violently beats him and does other shocking things to him that you can probably imagine. And oh my gosh, like, that is probably one of the most disturbing scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Like it's probably the most disturbing scene in my opinion. Like, not gonna lie, when I saw that scene, I felt my body was trembling in fear. Like, that has never happened to me before when I watched a movie. So yeah, and also the ending is pretty dark, and it's really sad too. And the monologue at the end that Neil talks about, without spoiling it, was just really well written and just incredible. It's just such a well-made, well-acted film that really gets under your skin and does a very good job with the topics. And I think Greg Araki really knows how to make such a movie that is just really artsy and thrilling, that it matches well with the tone. So, I haven't read the book that this movie was based on, but I'll probably read it eventually. Although, this is one of those movies I probably don't think I'll watch again anytime soon. but I will tell you, there is no doubt of how long this movie is going to stick with me for, and it's definitely going to stick with me for as long as I live. This movie is fantastic. However, I wouldn't really say I recommend it, but I will say it's best to watch this movie at least once, and trust me on that. But watch at your own risk, though, because it's really disturbing and it's really depressing, too. It's an amazingly fantastic film, not an easy film to watch, and it's definitely not for everyone, but I personally think that this is one of the greatest movies of the 2000s. Just such an amazing film that I will never, ever forget, and that it means a lot to me. And to end out this review, I'm going to give Mysterious Skin a 10 out of 10.
Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
So that wraps up for today's movie review. Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell with notifications, like, comment, share, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.